tiring. Let's go on to the Rift as we see Flash try a fancy little invade, but nothing should come of it. We could see a flash over the wall from Sora if he really fancies it. No, good positioning from Slows on the other side there, just to walk away, go close to the wall, so Sora has a very high likelihood of actually hooking the wall instead of him. Good to see. Conqueror against Lethal Tempo. Lethal Tempo Nocturne is something that used to be the standard rune. I actually have seen some Nocturne go back to Conqueror. It's a bit of a mix and match. Lethal Tempo conceptually makes a lot of sense, right? Because you do have one of the strongest AD buffs in the game, which the way AD and attack speed interacts is the more you have of the one, the more the other gives you value. So this is one of the reasons you should never go double attack speed items on most ADCs, because it's diminishing returns. The change from 1.5 attacks per second to 1.7 attacks per second, in comparison to something like the change from 200 to 250 AD on the same attack speed, is not comparable, especially because you don't actually get to attack in a vacuum. You don't get to make use of all that attack speed most of the time. So when you see people, I saw it yesterday in LCS actually, someone built 2 attack speed item plus Kraken Slayer plus attack speed boots on Jinx. That is just a really bad build, because the attack speed is not giving you anything anymore, especially with Jinx going over attack speed cap. If she actually gets over the attack speed cap, then the value can actually get higher again. But once you're nearing attack speed cap, it's not actually good to go into that much attack speed, especially on a champ like Jinx that deals 110% of her auto attack damage on, or her AD as damage on her rocket auto attack. So you're even more incentivized to actually build AD, because the higher your AD, the higher the extra 10% are. So attack speed, overly indexing into attack speed is something a few ADCs do, and yeah, if you just do the math, it's not very good. So hopefully Slows is not going to fall into that trap, and especially if you go Kraken Slayer, you don't really have to go any attack speed item, really. If there's not a big tank you need to attack a lot, you can kind of just forego any attack speed items, because Kraken Slayer gives you 10% per additional mythic, plus the boots. So even without any attack speed items, apart from the attack speed boots, with Kraken Slayer and 3-4 items, you get to 1.5 attack speed, which usually is more than enough to have really high DPS numbers. So these high AD builds are starting to dominate. We have a little bit of a trait. Nautilus gets the better of that one. Slows is investing so much mana early on. Has already used 2 cookies, I believe. Slows needs to be careful not to over-index into the mana there, because once he has no mana, his trading becomes really, really bad. If he can't throw those rockets through the minions and just Harris pudding. Oh, there's the first gang. Tom Rio has the lantern, and here we go. Sorry, with a flash to the other side. Tom Rio, easy kill. Nice execution. Now the counter plays here. Ooh, where's the spell shield, Tom Rio? Might have spell shielded something earlier. Doesn't matter. First kill to MBE. Very good to see. Good setup as well. Zodiac planning that for miles ahead. Yeah, it's a good kill to Tom Rio too. He used his flash, but he will now be quite ahead for the first gank with his level 6, which I expect to be either in bot lane again or in mid lane, because Jane, if you can stick to Jane with Nugu, maybe flash body slam him, just unlock him into ultimate, you can kill him quite easily. So I would actually like to see a little bit of a mid lane visit, try to force his flash before you level 6, and then get the easy kill once you hit level 6 on the Nocturne. It seems like Nocturne for now is content just going back to farming, which, I mean, is fine too, right? He already got the early impact. Nocturne, not really known for early ganking anyway, even though his first ganks usually are quite potent, especially with something like the lantern to catch him up. We're not actually getting a replay. It's unfortunate. I wanted to see what Tom Rio used his spell shield for there. But yeah, the start is definitely a good one for MBE. the big problem with Nocturnes right now is that transitioning the early lead into a win is actually quite difficult, especially into these front-to-back team compositions, because Nocturne's role into front-to-back team comps is really strange. You don't really know what you're supposed to do. If you lose the ability to dive onto the back line later on in the game because you don't go full assassin, that is too risky for pro play, you kind of lose all purpose. You can try to peel, you can just sit on slows, and whoever tries to go on top of slows gets an E from Tom Rio, but then Nocturne is not really designed to be a peel champion, so yeah, he kind of just loses a lot of value in the late game if you can't stick to your targets. So that's something we are going to have to keep our eye on. They do have decent accompanying dive in Nugus, Gragas, and also Sunma to a certain extent, so they could try to triple dive on top of Puddin. But we've all seen what happens when red-white Aphelios gets dived on. So, yeah, this is a very scary team composition. I think MBE is on a little bit of a timer with their dive comp. They do have the late game insurance of Jinx, but honestly, the Jinx and the divers really don't work well together. Like, the top side of this composition doesn't really make sense with the Jinx. Renekton, Nocturne, and Jinx just... they want to do completely different things. Oh, and here we see another engage. That's a nice purple gun setup. Should be an easy kill. There we go. That's a kill to put in 1-for-1 bot lane. Very nicely done. Very good coordination. I love to see when the support and ADC are in sync about Aphelios guns. And yeah, I mean, Zodiac used Flash on the first kill, and Team Flash made sure to punish him for it. Yeah, very good stun lock. Actually, there was a flash from Fook there. I don't think Fook had to flash. But better safe than sorry, so that's alright. We're not allowed to see the first kill, unfortunately, in the replay. We did see the second kill. Not sure why we are hating on MBE so much. That's fine. It's fine. Tom Rio is sitting on level 6, and his flash is like 1 minute away, so we might actually see him wait for the flash to use that in unison with his ultimate to get the first kill on his ult. Ooh. Trying to return gank. They don't have the purple gun setup, so now it's way harder to actually find the opening. Oh no. Oh, it's a horror. Ah. The darkness comes in and nothing comes of it. Ah, that is so unfortunate. We need to see what actually happened. Why did he press his ultimate? He was so far away from everyone. Jane flashed. Okay, something happened in mid lane. Jane used his flash to get away from Tom Rio, it seems. So Nugu used his ultimate, then Jane flashed away, and Tom Rio's ultimate was a little bit too late to leverage Nugu's advantage there, it seems. At least he gets a very early Rift ult. That's 300 gold funneled into this Nocturne once more. And yeah, MBE, once again, playing a decent early game. They do not look out of their league in early game most of the time, even though their average gold deficit is still almost 3k gold. We have seen them play decent early games, and yeah, it's once again one of those games where all their lanes are doing fine. We see even CS across the board. Top lane is a little bit worrying. You should not be down 10 CS on Renekton into Sion matchup. That is not good, because obviously the Sion is going to provide much more later on in the team fights. So yeah, Sunma struggling a bit with this Yoshino Sion. To be fair, as I said, Yoshino is one of the best top laners right now in the league, especially in the laning phase. He was up more than 50 CS 2 days ago. Then into a bit later on in the game, but if we just talk about the laning phase, Yoshino is looking resplendent this split. So we have a nice little Herald used here to get a little bit of an advantage in bot lane, but it's still even gold even after Herald, so everything done and dusted. Team Flash is now pretty far ahead because they got the first dragon, and dragon of course does not get shown, dragon stats do not get shown in the gold department, but that is one of the best individual dragons when it comes to stat increases, and especially on a team with so many tanky or tank stat users, you get quite a bit of value. That Sion is already looking quite tanky, and we already see him dominating lane, so he's never gonna be in any kind of trouble. Wow, Tom Ryu messed that up really badly. He used the spell shield way too early. Oh, that is an inexcusable mistake. That's one of the slowest spells in the game. That's just nerfs. Oh, you hate to see it. They picked Tom Ryu, it carry champion, probably because Tom Ryu wanted to play this. And then he misplaces mechanics so badly. That is such an easy spell to shield. But he uses the spell shield too early. Really nice proactive play from Flash. It should never work. Honestly, it should never ever work. You should never get a kill here into the spell shield available from Nocturne. But there it goes. And now Team Flash is starting to accelerate. It's only a 600 gold lead, but that's two more platings, I should say, into Pudden, who already got a kill. So this Ophelia is now quite far ahead in terms of... Actually, not in terms of items, as we see Jinx finishing a first item already. But yeah, should be ahead of the curve for the mid game against the Jinx. And of course, the Fuguan Jaeger is now looking pretty strong as well. Yeah, sorry, I disabled the caster command for now because it's changing so much over the last few days. I'm gonna enable it later in the day. At the moment, it's just me. It's best your way. So, I'm sorry, the caster command is not there. I can update it if you really want, but it's just me. There's nothing to see. So, 12 minutes in, the next dragon is coming up in 20 seconds. We have... pretty decent items actually coming in for Team Flash. No ADC item yet, but Puddin is still rather strong on these breakpoints, especially with the boots, good repositioning tool, and his flash is available too. So I'd say Team Flash is in a pretty good position to fight for this one, especially looking at Nugu not sitting on Roa. We have no item for Sunma. So I'd say if Team Flash calls Yoshino down for this fight, which they have, as you can see, Yoshino is sitting there, and look at his HP bar. This early in the game, one tank item ready, only armor built on him, and more than 100 CS on the Sion. He's unkillable. Like, the Jinx takes forever to cut through him. So, yeah, this was a very easy dragon. We see yet another Ocean Soul, which, of course, in the current meta, has actually... gotten better again. Last year I was a big hater of Ocean Soul. I thought it was mega overrated in the meta where everything was about one-shotting the opponent, but nowadays we are back-to-back in front-to-back team fighting with a lot of tanks, so Ocean Soul gets a lot of value. If you have a Sion on your team, you love Ocean Soul already. Same goes for the likes of Rice, who has a lot of HP to work through, or to work with, I should say. So, yeah, this Ocean Soul looks quite scary for MBE to face. Yoshino is probably never gonna die if he gets the Ocean Soul. And Team Flash playing a slow, but rather effective style so far in this game. Not taking too many risks. One very nice mid lane play to get them a little bit of an advantage. Bot lane is winning, top lane is winning, jungle is sitting pretty right now, so nothing to complain about. Team Flash looking like the far better team in terms of coordination. There you go. The command is re-enabled. You can spam the command now if you want. So, Roa is finally here. Black Cleaver, first item for summer. Apologies. Well, here we have another engaged Sora finding Zodiac. Ooh, that's a nice little double knock-up Slows, but that's the first kill for Slows. Slows is excited, has his lethal tempo stacked. He's almost dealing damage to the tanks anytime now. Good little counter engage. They stood their ground, and yeah, Yoshino is taking a lot of damage from that. That box dealt an insane amount of damage. Yoshino might have to flash away, yeah. MBE showing up for this fight and not letting Flash run away with the game. That's very good to see. Utilizing their strong power spikes on ADC and Honestly, even Zodiac contributing so much damage there. The base damage of Thresh's box and Hook together into the full armor Cyan in top lane, that dealt something like 300-400 damage to him. Surprising Yoshino, so he had to flash away. And yeah, they didn't really get the objective though, and now Flash on the aggressive in the top side. Sunma, run, Sunma, no! Yeah, he might be dead here. I think he's pretty dead. Yep, there we go. This Crocodile is not looking too happy about this game, and first tower still goes over to Flash. So MBE, even though they stood their ground really nicely in the topside river to contest for the objective, they lose everything in the end anyway. I'm not sure why we watched this replay that just happened on our screen literally 5 seconds ago. I would have liked to see the replay of the fight, but sure. Thank you, observers. So I'm not entirely sure what happened. Why is Flash now getting away with everything in terms of objectives? MBE had good positioning on top side. They just decided to teleport their, or just recall their Gragas into bot lane. And he did get the tower, but with second tower, and they lost the kill, and they lost the Herald. So yet another bad macro decision. Also, you don't really want to funnel your gold into Nugu anyway. What's that gonna do? So MBE with a little misstep. 1 minute to Dragon. They will try to get a little bit of vision into the river here. But I feel like Flash is more than prepared to fight for this. And if they win this Dragon fight, the game looks really rough for the side of MBE. So one more chance to maybe get close to Flash. And they do have decent item power spikes coming in. They have 1 item for everyone. They have Jinx almost sitting on 2 items. Jinx is so fast on her items today. Even though she should be behind in gold. Unfortunately, we don't have individual gold right now. Hopefully gonna see a little sneak peek onto that statistic later. But yeah, Jinx items very, very cheap in comparison to the big BF sword items for the side of Aphelios. So she might actually get to 2 items before Aphelios even has like close to 2 items finished. You should... Nah, she didn't reset now. So this is still a decent power point for Jinx. She does have Flash available too. So if they wanted to fight for this Dragon, they could potentially, but they're really far behind in setup. And now the river belongs to Team Flash. So we squandered positioning once again from the side for MBE. It's so unfortunate to see them do this all the time. They had vision setup before. But now they have to run into the river without any assistance from the wards, so it's very dangerous. This is not what the way Nocturne wants to play the game. He doesn't want to run face first into them, but what are we doing over here? Jane, what are you doing? Okay, slow starts anyway, so the fight is won. Puddin really low, can Puddin live? Puddin does live. And now Flash. They might have just won the game. I need to see a replay of that. Why did Slows just explode without using his Flash? Fuguan could ultimate on Zodiac. No, he doesn't. Okay, Fuguan still gets... That's a little dance. Zodiac walks away with his life. There was absolutely no reason for him to stay alive, but it's nice. Good to see him live. They still lose the tower, they still lose the dragon, so... Flash got everything they came for. This is one of the craziest flashes over the wall for Jane. I flamed him there. Need to see. Maybe he was actually making an amazing play. I need to see this in slow motion because it looked really into me. He flashed into 5 people and into the Thresh grab, but somehow stayed alive. So hopefully we finally get to see a replay of a team fight. I'm not sure why we never show team fights today. The tech is not here. Ah, there's the gold. And here's the replay. Okay, so he gets grabbed and he gets the stun on... Oh, what? How did Yoshino find that? Everyone just stepped away. Yoshino just ran at him with Cyan, and neither did he flash away from the Cyan ultimate, nor anyone blocked the Cyan ultimate. That... I don't think I've ever seen that happen in a pro game. That is so weird. You have a 5 people setup. Everyone is staying on top of each other, and the Cyan just runs through all 4 members onto the Jinx. The Jinx doesn't flash away and just dies to the Cyan ultimate. Wow. Okay. I mean, there was a lot going on in the fight, to be fair. Like, Jane flashing into 5 people is probably gonna disturb you, but still, please, just run in front of your Jinx. Protect your Jinx from that Scion. I did not see that in the original speed. That is weird. So, yeah, Jinx not flashing the Scion ultimate, no one blocking for her. So, that is now giving Flash a really good mid-game advantage. It's still only 1.5k gold, but if you look at the scaling of the champions and also the dragons, of course, it's definitely more than that. We have 2 items now for Puddin. He's quite strong, very high AD numbers, so really good white gun, for example, because white gun doesn't use attack speed as much, because you get automatic attack speed once you're close, and you have the towers anyway, so high AD is really strong for that one. So, yeah, this Aphelios looking really strong. Jane is close to hitting his 10-minute mark on the Rod of Ages, so that's gonna give him a big spike too. He's not that close to level 16 yet, which of course is another huge spike for the Rice with extra damage on Q. So not actually very early Roa in comparison to other games. Usually Rice hits Roa 10 on level 14 or 15, so a little surprising. Jane has been grouping a lot, so makes sense for him to be a little bit low on experience. But overall, the team composition for Flash just looks so easy to play. If you think about Flash's composition here, you have the biggest tank in the game in Scion. You have a really good skirmisher in your jungler who can kind of do front to back, as unfortunately my feed froze. Hello? Not entirely sure if that's on my end. Probably on my end, unfortunately. So, yo. Which is working, though. I'm not dropping frames, so shouldn't be my internet. But it has fixed itself, so we're back in game, and Flash is sieging this tower. That's a risky teleport, but it's gonna come through, and someone is diving. Jane, please. Jane, what are you doing? You're not Scion. I think Jane and Yoshino should probably swap places on the team, because Jane just wants to go in there. That's the second fight in a row where Jane finds himself behind enemy backlines for no apparent reason. So, a little bit of respite for MBE. 1 minute to Dragon. They might actually crack this mid tower, which would be a huge boon for their Dragon setup. Yeah, that's a big swing. So, MBE is still in here with a fighting chance. Look at the Jinx. Jinx is really strong. Her item build is so cheap, she accelerates quite fast onto the 3rd item. She's not gonna go highest single target damage with IE, instead she's gonna go consistent DPS and of course very high damage on the Scion, which they need. They don't have a high DPS AP carry, so she has to be the one getting rid of Yoshino. Actually, this game now looks kind of playable. I still think the Nocturne is utterly useless, and Sunba is kind of useless too, but if you somehow get Jinx a good excited team fight and she flashes the Scion ultimate next time, then yeah, maybe there's a way. It's still gonna take about 20-25 auto attacks for her to actually kill the Scion, as we see the train Yoshiro searching for the station, but yeah. Yeah, not quite there. This ultimate, of course, can be used very freely. It has a very short cooldown. You can see it tick down, so absolutely no flame to Yoshino. You can always look for this opportunity. It worked unbelievably well last time, so just let him cook. Maybe he finds the station next time. This game has evolved into a little bit of a VN run, because everyone is just perma-grouping mid lane. Once again, MBE has given up positioning on the river when the dragon is spawning. Please! Can you please, for once, fight for a river position, as we have the big fight now. Yoshino standing his ground. He's going down to half HP. They actually deal a lot of damage to Yoshino, and Slows. Can Slows get excited here? Still firing away. There's the kill. Slows is excited, but he can't use the bonus. He's now trying to chase, but it's still only the zombie he's attacking, so the excited bonus kind of going to waste. It's 5v4 on the map, but the health bars look in favor of Flash, and Puddin is still full HP, and Puddin can really pop off here. He is red-white now. Puddin, can he deal the damage? There's one kill. The dragon is still low. There's another kill, and Tomrio gets chased away from the dragon. He needs to steal. Oh, there's a soul. Tomrio, he can't get back in. It's soul for Flash. That should be all she wrote for this game. Really nice patience from Flash to actually stay there. And even though they lost their big front lane, they knew they still had the positional and numbers advantage. It was a 5v4 on the map, but the HP bars were in their favor for sure. Really nice from Put Into, playing very far up, very aggressively, standing his ground with red and white. Still had both summoners available too, so knew he was perfectly safe. No one had CC to run him down. Good to see. Flash just showing good team fighting once again, and MBE. I mean, this game is not the worst game they've played. I think they're playing an alright game. The one thing that's really showing is that they don't have the timing for river control down. They're always fighting from behind, always fighting from really bad positions when it comes to dragon control. Like, why are they not fighting for vision early on in this game? They actually had the tower down, and then they reset at the worst possible time to get vision back, and now it's all Team Flash that can set up the fight. As Slows has died somehow. So that should be Baron pretty easily for Team Flash. No Flash for Tomrio, no ultimate for Tomrio either. There's absolutely no way for him to get close to this Baron. This is one of the easiest Baron setups you've ever seen. There's no objective for the other team to take on the other side either, because we're already sitting on Soul, so it's just a little bit of despair for the side of MBE. They have nothing to do, they know they're losing, and they can't do anything against it. I am indeed solo casting for now. We are going to have a Dash join in for the second series, so I'm not alone there. Yeah, unfortunately with a lot of illness this week and a lot of other commitments and work. Why are people working on the weekend? Unfortunate. But yeah, we have a lot of people in the team who just can't make it this week, so a little inconvenient situation for us, but should be better by next week again. Our two play-by-play casters on the usual team just couldn't make today, and it is what it is. It's also only an MBE series, so are you missing that much hype? Are you really? Is anyone going to be excited about this team? It's the unfortunate reality of MBE in the league. Flash also, I mean, I was actually really excited after week 1 for Flash. I was really down on them before they came into the league. I thought, okay, Flash is probably going to be a bottom tier team and not contesting for players. And they did lose earlier this week, which was a big hit to their playoff chances, because they did have the opportunity to go 4-3, because they still had the MBE series and they were sitting at 2-3. They played against Wales yesterday, I believe, and I thought they had a chance, especially with the ADC matchup of Put into Wit. But it didn't work out for them. They lost 0-2. So this series is really important. They need to look clean. They need to go 2-0 to match all the others' game scores into MBE, so they don't fall behind on the games won, on games difference compared to all the other teams. And especially if Saigon Buffalo loses later today, which is what we all expect against Gam. Well, Gam is 6-0, and Buffalo is struggling, so I would expect Buffalo to lose. Then Flash is actually tied with Buffalo, so they're not looking too bad in terms of their playoffs chances. Of course, we only have 4 playoff spots, so it's quite hard to get there. And yeah, Wales is 4-3, Cerberus is 5-2, SPDC is 4-3, as we might have the last fight of the game. Yoshino might have committed a little too deeply. Yep, there's the Exciter for Slow. Slow needs to hit some targets. He just can't get close enough. It's so it's so hard to play for him in this game, because his team can't buy him space. They are all really weak too. We have Sunma, who's probably going down in 2-3 hits if he goes in. So he would really love to have the Scion on his side, so he can actually step up and fire some auto attacks with his amazing range. And he's getting that first kill on the Scion. So that's step 1 down. But if you can't ever follow it up, if you can't use your get excited attack speed bonus to actually snowball the fight, then the first kill doesn't really do anything. And Flash is super happy to just have Yoshino stay in this in the back line by tank for 10 seconds while the rest of the team is just getting objective after objective. So I feel like for the next game I would like to see MBE go with a tank on the top side. This Sunma Renekton is not doing it for me, especially if he loses lane into Sion. Like, what is even the value of Renekton if you lose lane into Sion? It's just completely useless. It's also Renekton into Nautilus and Aphelios, which, I mean, nah. It's not really playable. So, a full tank into the Sion, maybe the Cho'Gath. We have seen some Cho'Gath into Sion. It's a good lane matchup. It's Kassanti is another good one into Sion. Really good in lane into the Sion. And much tankier. So, I think you need, if you want to play these slows Jinx compositions, which I like, I think it's a good option. Oh, come on, Sandma, press the lantern. No. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. It's a horror. Yeah, this game. It looks so frustrating to play for slows. He's so strong. Look at his items. He's 4-item Jinx. He should be able to carry these team fights, but he just can't ever step up to fight a target. So, especially after this game, I want to see slows on Jinx again. I think slows on Jinx is a good band-aid because he doesn't have the greatest mechanics, but Jinx is honestly a pretty easy champion to play, especially if you have the team to set you up for it. So just build a team composition around the Jinx. I like the Nugu Gragas, buying a lot of space, buying a lot of time for the Jinx, disrupting the team fights. And yeah, you can see he's actually dealing damage, and his positioning is fine. He just can't ever step up. This is actually a promising fight now, Jinx, with a lot of damage, and she can... Oh no, slows, no, he stepped up. No, 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 cut the tape. He stepped up, he tried. He tried for once to actually do what I was telling him to do. He tried to step up and instantly got deleted by the enemy Aphelios. Yeah, this is the issue with this composition. You just don't have the champions to buy you the space in team fights. Yeah, try to build a comp around the Jinx next time. I would like to see Sejuani in the jungle or anything that is similar to the Sejuani. Maybe transition the Gragas into the jungle. So you have a lot of CC there. And a nice tank. Yeah, the Renekton is a champion, by the way. A nice tank in the top lane, where that can buy a little bit more space and time. It has a little bit of CC there too. And then just play front to back, let Jinx carry the team fights. I think that would be a really smart approach for MBE, because at some point, even if your macro is really bad, if you have a super strong Jinx, you will win a late game team fight and win a game. So I think that's the only hope I can see for this team right now. And honestly, I've been rather pleased with Slow's performance. We don't talk about what he's trying to do here. He gets a little too hyphy, but honestly, I mean, he kind of has to try. No one else has any kind of threat on the enemy ADC. He played it too aggressively, for sure. He shouldn't ever step into range of Aphelios to get double crit and just insta-die, but he had to try. He's the main damage, the only damage in the team. I don't really want to say too many bad things about him, because I think in this game he's certainly showing us more potential than he has before. I think his team fighting is looking a little bit better than some of the other champions. Of course, that's also a champion thing. Jinx is much easier to teamfight with than Draven. His Draven in teamfights has looked really dreadful. His Jinx is looking better, and he's 5-3 and 4. He is looking quite strong. 4.5 items. If Flash decide to int into the Jinx, late game Jinx, we've all seen it. Could happen. It could happen. Yeah, they almost look like a team over this week. Yeah, I agree. They look better. Their team fighting is a little bit better. Their macro decisions are still horrible. Their like fundamentals around the dragon are still something it's almost painful to watch. I just need a coach to sit them down and walk them through what to do about the river. As we see, why Nocturne in the late game is just not a champion. Very, very strong approach there for Nocturne. Just walking in and dying instantly. Come on, Slows. It's your time to shine. 4-item Jinx. Let's go. Yeah. No. Okay. Team Flash win a game that was honestly